Let's face it, being in our 20s is one of the most confusing times. What is my purpose? What makes me happy? How will I achieve my dreams? Some of us spend our entire lives trying to figure it out. Yeah, it's not easy, but there's always a way. My way. I'm Jazzy, and I'm in the process of paving my own path in this journey we call life. Will you share your My Way with me?
This is Sandra Jeenie Kwon, and this is My Way.
All right, well, hi, Jeenie. How are you today?
Good, Jazzy. How are you?
I'm happy. I'm happy to have you on the show.
I'm happy to be here.
I know it rained a couple days ago for you over there in Vancouver. How is it right now?
Oh, it's still raining.
Still?
So it's on and off. Well, I'm in Vancouver, and it's called Raincouver for a reason, So 2/3 of the year, it's always raining. Yeah, it's not a surprise.
Do you like that type of weather?
No.
How long have you been in Vancouver?
So right now I've been here for maybe about 3 months now.
Oh.
Because I was in LA for 6 months and I'm kind of going back and forth. So I live in LA and in Vancouver because my husband's from LA.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Nice. We're so close.
Yeah. I'll hope to see you one day in real life, once COVID is over and stuff like that. And I make my way back to LA. I don't know when that is because I feel a bit safer in Canada.
Yeah, stay where it's safe. Good health is first.
For sure.
And we could always catch up over Zoom calls, or I could see you on TikTok all the time. So
Yeah, you know what? This is the norm, Jazz. Like, even with my friends and stuff, all I do is FaceTime. Like, I haven't been able to see them. And a lot of them, they have families, right, with their children and stuff. So it's better safe than sorry at this time. So, I mean, this is fine. Like, I feel like we're just chilling anyways, right?
well, Jeenie, I'm super excited to speak with you and learn more about your story today. Here on My Way with Jazzy, we love listening to unique paths that our guests have paved. And from the stories you shared with me briefly, Jeanie's way is really the only way to describe your life so far.
I mean, everyone has their own life, story. But yeah, mine, I loved every decision I made, good or bad. And, it brought me here today, and I am who I am today because of those choices. So I'm really excited to share that with you. And so let's go.
Yeah. Can you give our audience a quick intro about yourself and where you are from?
So my name is actually Sandra Jeenie Kwon. Jeenie is my Korean name because of the fact that my usernames online is Jeenie Weenie. That's only because my friends call me that because I have a weenie dog.
Oh.
So now, I have a weenie dog. And so they've just always called me Jeenie Weenie. And now it's kind of stuck. And so I can't really change it to anything else because that's how everyone sees me as. My name is actually Sandra.
Are you okay with me calling you Jeenie? I call you Jeenie on Neve.
Of course, all of my Korean friends do call me Jeenie,
Okay.
but all of my non-Korean friends do call me Sandra. So it's totally up to you. I'm cool with both. But yeah, I mean, like on the personal side of things, people don't know I'm actually a restaurant owner. I own 2 restaurants, and cabin crew is a previous job of mine, which has now, I don't know, ever since I shared my story about cabin crew has gone viral, and now I'm like the cabin crew lady, and I'm totally fine with that. It's interesting because my online character and my real life, how I am, is different, right? It's just weird because people are asking me like, oh yeah, where do you fly to now? Maybe I've seen you on board. And I'm like, I haven't been cabin crew for over 10 years, but okay. So it's interesting.
But that's fun. You kind of get to recall your memories and go back to when you were in cabin crew.
Oh, I miss it so much, Jazz. I just miss the stories. The job itself, maybe not so much, but the experience and the friends that I've made, I miss it a lot.
Before we talk about your journey with TikTok as a content creator, let's first talk about what led you to this point. You shared that you've had about 13 to 14 jobs throughout your career. Can you give us a brief overview of which industries you worked in?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I actually got my first job back in high school, and I started off working at Cineplex, which is like the movie theaters in Canada.
Ooh. Mhm.
So I went from there to retail. I worked as a cashier at a grocery store, like a popular grocery store. Uh, I went into insurance agent. Uh, I worked in a bank. So I was a teller, and then I went into investment banking. Hell, I worked as, oh my God, I tried starting up my own business several times with different things, just ideas for fun. So, I mean, craft wise, I love crafts. So I started an Etsy store, and then I did, in school, we started up a business with our team, and we actually launched in real life. So we did that as well, which was like a baby subscription service.
Mhm.
Restaurant, TikTok. I also owned a frozen yogurt store, airline.
Wow.
A lot of things, yeah.
I'm curious to know why you chose to work in all these different industries. Were you taking advantage of your 20s? As everyone says, it's a time to explore.
Oh, okay. So let's start off with like high school wise. The
Mhm.
reason why I got a job was because me coming from an Asian family, uh, education is number one, right?
Mhm.
But we also have a lot of restrictions. So, in order to gain my own freedom of what I
Mhm.
can do, if I
Mhm.
made my own money, my parents can't say anything. That's just how it is. I'm like, I made it for myself. I worked for it. So if I want to go out with my friends and watch a movie or hang out or buy something, I don't have to ask you for it. I could do it myself.
Mm.
Okay. So
Mhm.
at that time, there was so much. I mean, you're a teenager, right? There's so much you want to buy: makeup, clothes, go out with your friends. Like, there's so much you want to do. And I mean, allowance at that time, if I don't know if some of you guys still get allowance and stuff, I might have
Mhm.
gotten like $20, here and there. That's, you can't really get too much from that. Maybe a lunch or something, right? So,
Right.
uh, I always made sure that I got good grades, which I did. And I ended up working part-time when I could. I think I started when I was 16, I believe it was. So since then, I've always made my own. And my parents never said anything. I got my freedom. I was able to do whatever I wanted. I got good
Mhm.
grades, right? So I was able to
Mhm.
have my fun, buy whatever I want, meet up with friends, and it was good. So you have to
Mhm.
figure out how to work the parents and keep them happy.
Right. Do you have very strict, like, Asian parents?
My mom, um, my mom is actually okay. She does still have that traditional thinking, because obviously I think for a lot of our parents, they come from somewhere else,
Mm.
and they've suffered some sort of hardship to get to where they are. We are very privileged. I
Mhm.
feel like our generation is very privileged because they've already set up everything for us.
Mhm.
Um, but to them, like, making money is the most important, because without it, you cannot be happy. I mean, they grew up like, oh, am I even going to have food on the table? Like, that's the mentality they grew up in, right? So we just have to understand their upbringing versus ours. So and I get that, and I'm very grateful.
Mhm.
Um, and it's so my mom actually, we were all born here. My brother and I were born in Canada. So she's a bit more open-minded when it comes to these things, but still she was traditional in that she wanted me to be a doctor or a lawyer or something. So in that sense, they were traditional. Um, and education was number one, no matter what, growing
Mhm.
up. It
Mhm.
wasn't about the experience or the work or
Uh-huh.
life. They wanted you to just make money, because money is happiness.
At the age of 16, you already had your first job while you were focusing heavily on education as well, since, you had very traditional parents who wanted you to get the good grades. How did you balance that at such a young age, only in high school?
Uh, Balancing. I feel like I don't know why it's hard for some people to balance per se, because if you just did your homework right away, you know what I mean? Like, just get it done right away
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and then go out. And then you don't have to worry about it. I felt like I had enough time to do everything. And if you can't figure it out, I think it's just excuses, in my opinion. Like, you're just trying to make an excuse to say, I can't do it. It's all time management. And I had a lot of friends that did the same. They all had jobs and we all hung out and we all got good grades. And that's another thing too. I feel like when you're younger, the crowd that you hang out with is very important. Your friends that you choose are very important. And I was lucky enough to have, we're surrounded by people where we helped each other and we had a lot of fun and we did a lot of things. So I was lucky in that sense, but I mean, we still can choose our friends. And I hope kids understand that it does play an influence on you big time in high school. Yeah. And moving forward too, actually, but.
Work hard, play hard.
That's my motto, Jazzy. Work hard, play hard.
I love it. What was your college experience like?
Not that good, Jazzy. I kind of let it go. I kind of let it go here. In college, I played too hard, no work. That's what I did. I'm not gonna lie. So college, okay, so I went to UBC. I got in. It was shocking for a lot of people because in high school, I played a lot too. So people automatically assume that if you play hard, you're probably not very smart or like you don't study and you're not going to get in. So people, like there was a lot of people in university that I saw, which was University of BC, UBC, which is a very good school here in Vancouver. And science was the hardest to get in at that time. You needed an average of, I don't know, like 90% or so, like something ridiculous just to get in. And I got in. I actually got in. So people there that I've seen through high school partying or whatever, they're like, you got in? Like, I didn't even get in. And they're just, it was a really weird thing to experience. I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean I can't get in? Like, what did you think of me before, right? So that's something. But I mean, I only got in because my mom made me. She was like, you need to get into UBC Sciences because you need to grow up and you need to be a doctor. So I need you to get in to UBC Science and pave your way through there. So I think I only applied and did that to prove to my mom I could. It kind of be like, oh, I want you to be proud of me, Mom. I want you, and I can do this. Like, I want to show you that I can do this. But that's not what I wanted to do. Actually, at that time, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I got in, I took it. I'm going to tell you, I have never felt so dumb in my life. Like, I failed. I went from straight A's to like failing everything. Because it's like, I feel like you will do really, really well if it's your passion, because you'll work at it, right? You'll be like, oh, I want to learn more about calculus. I don't care about calculus, Jazz. Like, I don't care. And they're like, oh, physics. And like, oh my God, I was just like, I don't understand. Like, it went 1 year, came out the rest. And I was like, I don't get it. So I failed all of my exams. I took 2 years there and I was just like, I am not having fun. This is no. And I did end up just like skipping a lot of classes because I didn't enjoy it. I ended up partying too hard. I did go through a partying phase. I went out a lot. And I was just excited to be in a new environment in college, like the college mentality of meeting all these people from everywhere, right? And making friends. And I just kind of got carried away with that. And after, like, I had to obviously get a student loan. And I mean, college is expensive. It's very expensive. And after the second year, I'm like, I need to pay this back. And I'm not even like learning anything. So I'm going to school, paying all this money, getting into debt. And I'm like, just to party and meet new friends. I'm like, no, I need to figure myself out. Actually, after the 2 years, I quit. I did quit.
Whoa.
To everyone that's like, are you out of your mind? Are you insane?
Yeah.
Like, it's impossible to get in and then you're quitting, right? And even my mom was like, why don't you at least finish your degree? And I'm like, you want me to waste more money doing something I don't like? And obviously I'm not good at because I'm failing. I might not even finish, right? And I'm just like, Mom, this is not right. Like, I can't do it. It's just a waste of time and money and energy. It just doesn't make any sense. So I actually left. And then I found something else that I wanted to do. Thinking about that, it's just interesting. Do I regret it? No, definitely not. It helped me make decisions fast.
Honestly, in college, I know even my peers too, when they were studying, science or maybe a subject that their parents wanted them to pursue, they weren't happy and they weren't really excited to learn more or go to classes. And I saw many of my peers just skipping classes because they just didn't care. It's really cool how you took that ownership and you decided to stop school when, we all have that choice, honestly, but it's like this unspoken rule that's stopping us. And I think it's amazing at such a young age that you decided to make that decision for yourself.
I think it was like, if I didn't have a plan B, I probably would have continued. Because I'm like, well, okay, fine, I don't like it, but now what? What am I going to do if I just quit right now? Right? So if you had another plan, then I think it's a lot easier, which I did. So I had to think, and I was like, listen, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? What do I enjoy? What do I want to be? Who do I want to become? So these are things like early on when you're like 19, 20, it's hard to think about.
Yes, definitely.
You're trying to find yourself.
Yeah.
Some people know early in high school what they want to be and all that stuff, but majority of us, I don't think so. And even then, like even some of the friends that I had in college, they finished, they got their degrees and whatever it is, they're not even doing that. They're like, oh yeah, I just did it because I'm like, you got your bachelor's in whatever and you're not even doing it. They're like, no. And it's like a totally different field. So it's kind of sad, but I feel like if you don't really know, it's okay, because like that's still on your road to discovering yourself and who you are and what you want to be. But once you figure it out, it's getting out of it, because you're obviously in a norm, right? You're like, oh, okay, I'm used to this. I might as well just finish. Well, those 2 years or that year when you knew that it wasn't for you, that's a waste. That's a long time. You feel like, oh, whatever. No, you could have done something for yourself to make yourself happy and pave the life that you want to live, right? As opposed to what your parents think or society thinks is great or your friends think it's great, So, yeah, you just have to discover yourself, figure out what you want. Yeah.
You were able to discover what you wanted, after 2 years in college. But for students right now who don't really know, but they're just kind of maybe following their parents' advice to study a certain subject, what advice would you like to give them in this pursuit to figure out what our purpose and meaning in life is?
What I did was kind of step back and look at my life and just kind of analyze, am I happy or not? Like, and what makes me happy, and know my own strengths and my own weaknesses. And sometimes it's hard to figure out what they are, But I did something. I asked my parents, I asked my friends, and they told me straight up what my strengths were and what my weaknesses were. And sometimes it's not some, like, they know because they've always hung out with me, right? And all of my friends were like, listen, based on your personality and we're our friends, our friendship and things like that, you're very much a people person. Like, you have to do something where you're face to face with people. That's, so figure something out. So that's why I'm like, okay, which is true. So I kind of had to move back and be like, okay, this is the things that I love and what I enjoy. So what job is that? What career does that? Right.
Right.
And that's how I pinned it down to hospitality management, which is all, it's all interactions, which is, and then that's why I had a plan. So that's why I quit university. I'm like, nope, that's what I want to do. I want to go into hotels. I want to go into, at that time, I didn't think airline. I wanted to, but I never pursued it at that time. I was mostly thinking just hotels. So I went to hospitality management and I loved it. Like, first day of school to when I finished, I was having such a good time learning, and I knew it. I already knew it. I was like, oh yeah, this was the right decision for me. And I mean, no one can ever say that to you. Like, you'll find out yourself. So whenever you make a decision, do you feel good about it? Do you feel like you made a mistake? Do you feel bad about it? You know?
I like how you weren't afraid to reach out to your parents. You know, they were probably, actually, how were they when you said, you know, after 2 years, I'm gonna leave UBC? What did they say?
Well, for every, I don't know if this is like a lawyer thing, or you need to state your case. You can't just say, I'm gonna leave. They're not gonna buy that. You have to have, my dad is he's a businessman. So you have to bring all the facts and a plan before you have that discussion. So I already had it all. I'm like, exactly what I just told you. I'm like, yeah, I can continue as you wish. That's fine. But just so you know, I'll be going more into debt. After I finish my degree, I'm not going to be a doctor. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm not going to be a doctor. I'm going to do this is what I enjoy. This is my plan. I'm going to go to college for this. I'm going to apply. I got in and I did the necessary steps so that there's nothing my parents could say. What are they going to say? I planned it. I planned it out. It's not like, oh, I'm just have this idea. Maybe I'll just bring it to them. Oh, that's not going to fly. They would eat me alive. You know that, Chazzy, Korean parents. Oh my goodness. Yeah. That is not going to fly. So after that, it was okay. It was actually not bad at all because I was prepared. And you have to know your parents too.
Right.
You have to know how to work them. But I'm lucky my parents are a bit more, they understand a lot more. I know there's a lot of parents out there who are more traditional. It's very difficult to pass those boundaries. And I feel for them, and that's really sad. I don't really know if I have advice for that, just because, like, I don't know your situation. I have friends that are like that. That's why. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, because it's like, you can't really change your parents' mind. You can change you have power to change yourself, and you can try to explain it to your parents, but if they don't understand, what are you gonna do? And it's hard. And I really feel for people that are in that situation. But in the end, to me, it's your life. You have one of it. You don't know when it's going to end, in all honesty. So do whatever you can to make yourself happy. That's just my advice that I give to everyone that's like, I'm stuck in a rut. I'm like, you're not living for your parents. I'm sorry. I know they raised you. You're not living for them. You're living for yourself. I don't know.
It's hard.
It is very hard. So I feel for a lot of kids right now. It's hard.
Well, I feel like especially now, times are kind of changing with the advancement of social media, content creation. It might be a good opportunity while you're pursuing like something that your traditional parents want you to on the side, be able to, dab into content creation or so many other resources on the internet where you can learn different skills.
Whatever you want. It's amazing. We live in a really very cool, amazing time. I've learned so much more on TikTok alone in 15 seconds
Yes.
than anything else. It's honestly insane. So if there's something that you're interested in or want to find out more about or find yourself or learn, you can. And like I said before, if you don't, you're just giving yourself excuses. I feel like you're just giving an excuse not to do it. Like, oh, my parents said no.
Right.
So you don't have free time to learn it on your own. If you want to be an actor or singer or whatever, go do it. Even though your parents say no, keep them happy as well. Study, do it. Learn it on your free time. And I feel like more kids nowadays are empowered to do so. I see it. And I don't want to be like, oh, go defy your parents. No, they only want the best for you, right? And they have an understanding of what that is because they experienced something in their life and they want to pass it down onto you. Of course, they only want the best for you. So you have to learn how to balance, how to learn from your parents and learn from what you're experiencing and try to, have a happy medium, right? And I feel like it's possible. You just got to figure it out.
And the time is now.
It is.
I really think it is.
I think so too. I think a lot of people, because of the fact that you're home most of the time and you have the time to explore other things that you enjoy, people are finding a lot about themselves, which is amazing. And at the same time, you get to spend a lot more time with your family, which is also amazing, right?
Yeah.
Before everyone was out, you never, like your parents are always working, but now they're working from home. So you get to talk more and understand. And I feel like it's a good time. Yeah. I mean, obviously COVID sucks, but there are some blessings in everything that happens in life.
Yeah, which is why I wanted to start the series too during this time, because I feel like, yes, the climate outside is horrible right now, but while we have time to focus on ourselves inside, I think this is like the perfect reset button for all of us to really dig deep and figure out, what do we want in life?
It's so true. It's so true. Have you done that?
Yeah, here I am with my way.
Like, I want to do this. I'm going to do it. Yeah, see? Everyone is finding their way. And I think it's also easier because, like I said, we have a lot of influence when it comes to friends. And we're kind of separated right now. And you don't have anyone telling you, ew, like, what are you doing? There's nobody. It's you in a room. And you're like, what do I want to do? I want to try this. And there's nobody telling you that's a terrible idea. So I think that's another reason why a lot of these people right now are finding themselves. They get to do everything without any pressure from anywhere. What I'm doing right now with content creating is my favorite, which I've never thought in a million years. COVID brought that out, like you said, it brought it out. But before that, for sure, it was working in the airline, working at the hotels. That was my favorite. And it was because I just wanted to create a positive experience for others. That's all it is. That's really what hospitality management is. Even if you're dealing with Karens, like, well, Karen, you're like this because something must have happened to you. So how can I make your day better? And just by changing that, it's very rewarding. And that's for me. I found that to be extremely rewarding. And that's the industry that I was in. And I'm doing the same thing right now, content creating. That's why I'm like, oh, this is actually better because I'm a very creative person. And so to put helping others and creating a positive experience with being able to create something and be creative, that's just like merging everything I love in one. So what I'm doing right now, I feel like is for me. Yeah, and we'll see where it goes. I mean, it's just, I don't know what's happening right now. I'm just kind of doing whatever, and it seems like it's gaining traction or whatever it is. And like, I never thought of it as a business, but now my mindset is changing a little bit. I'm like, okay, so I can do this as a career. I'm in that process right now. So it's a very interesting time to talk to you, because I don't really know what my end goal is, Jazzy. I don't. I'm just kind of playing it by ear and doing what I love. And if it goes somewhere, great. If it doesn't, it's okay. And it's happened sometimes like that.
And I think the reason why you're building traction too is because I, from the audience, can tell you love doing it so much. Like, that happiness exudes through your content. And whether that's with content creation or working in the hospitality management industry, I feel like if you just really love doing something, like, the person feels it too.
It's true. So that's the thing, though. You really got to love what you do. People know it. You don't have to say anything. There's a certain energy that comes out of people when you really truly love something or hate something or whatever, you know. And just saying this, though, it might change. Like, you never know. Certain situations arise. Like, me right now, I'm still trying to start a family and things like that. If that happens, will I still continue to do content creation? I don't know, because I'm not in that position right now. Totally switch and go, nope, my happiness shifted. My happiness is now for my kid. And I want to do everything I can for my kid instead of online, right? And that could happen. That might not. Maybe I'll share my experiences raising a kid online. I don't know. But that's what I'm saying. Like, you never really know unless you're put into that situation. So I like to live with what's happening to me right now. And I don't really want to stress too much about what's to come, because none of us are fortune tellers. Like, and trust me, Jazzy, I've seen fortune tellers too. And I'm like, they weren't right. No one can determine that for you. You determine it yourself. So yeah, as of now, right now, I'm very happy. I love doing whatever I'm doing right now. So I'm just going to keep it going until it changes. Same with you. I can tell already. You love doing this. Like, it's a passion. I can tell. You have a level of excitement, and it's just like, that's the people that you really want to surround yourself with too.
With the plethora of experiences across industries, you definitely have a colorful resume. But wasn't it tough to flip through these different jobs and have to learn entirely new skill sets along the way?
I loved it, because I had to go through all of that to figure out what I loved, what I liked about certain things, what I hated about certain things, to figure out what it is that I want to do for the rest of my life. So no, I love learning new things. I know it's really hard for people to step out of their box, their comfort zone. That's the number one thing, because you're like, I don't want to suck. I don't want people to think about my weaknesses. And trust me, I was bad at a lot of things, okay? Like, even for the cashier job or whatever, I lasted 3 months. I was out. I was like, oh, no, I cannot do this. I tried it. And the thing about me is, whenever there's an opportunity, I would always consider it, even though it's not for me or I've never thought about it. And every single job I've had was because someone offered me that opportunity and I took it. Always. For the airline, I didn't go look for it. It was more like I met up with, I went out for a party and I met these two girls who were like, oh, I'm moving to Dubai because I just recently got hired as flight attendant and we didn't think we can get in. And I'm like, that sounds amazing. I always thought about it, but I never, I was like, I would never qualify. I have no skills. I don't have a language. short, whatever, all these excuses. And they're like,
Mm-hmm.
who cares? Why don't you just try? So that's actually how I did it. And I was like, oh yeah, you're right. I should just try. So I applied, and what do you know? I got I got it. And it was just like certain opportunities, I always say yes, even though if I'm not doing anything at that time. Same thing with the bank. I don't want to be a banker. I hate numbers. This is how I got that job. I walked into my bank, and it was the bank manager who just was greeting people and was just talking to people, service. He's like, oh, it was summertime. He's like, are you Korean? Yes, I'm Korean. My wife is actually Korean. I'm like, oh, that's amazing. And then we're just talking. He said, what are your plans for summer? I'm like, oh, I'm still a student. I have nothing to do. I'm not sure. He's like, do you want to work here part-time? I'm like, you know what? Okay, yeah, sure. And then that career led into financial services manager, led into investment banker, led into everything that it was a huge career path just by me saying yes to that one part-time job, summer job that kept me going. And it's just like, you never know, Jazz. One little decision. So that's why I always take every opportunity and go for it. I'd be like, if nothing pans out from it, who cares?
Hey, that's Ashton Kutcher. I know, right? Oh my God, he's so hot. Do you want to give him his coffee? Yeah. Gimme. Shit, I'm nervous. I can't. What happened? I got so nervous I couldn't do it. I would spill coffee all over him. Do you want to give him a hot towel instead? Yeah. Gimme. What now? We closed his door.
So let's dive into what brought us together. Tell me how you started your TikTok journey.
Oh, TikTok. So TikTok was actually, I started back, my very first TikTok was back in December, the end of December. And it was my friend, Alan, who was like, hey, check out TikTok. And I knew about TikTok before. I was like, oh, it's a children's app, kids doing random things. And he's the one that was like, it's funny. Like, it's really, really funny. You're going to like it because my immaturity level is, down here. So it's like, he's like, you're going to enjoy this. So I started watching videos with him. He would share videos, I would share videos. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is so funny. I kind of like it. I like the vibe. I like that people don't care. And it's weird because I grew up with like Instagram where it's picture perfect. Very picture perfect. And then you're on TikTok where people come out in their like pajamas and all like totally wild, and they're like, hey, and I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. Like, nobody cares, and I love it. I like the vibe. So then I'm like, you know what, I kind of want to post on here. So I posted a couple videos. They were terrible because I didn't know what I was doing anyways. I'm not a really tech savvy person. So I just took some music, I uploaded it, and obviously the kids were like, what is this? Like, why is this on my For You page? This is like so bad. Like, why are you on my page?
What kind of videos were they?
Oh, it was nothing. It was like music, and I didn't know what it was for. So it was just music and me washing my face. And so I looked at the comments. I'm like, okay, so obviously it's not a vlog thing. They don't like that. I'm like, I gotta do something else. So then I started off playing with trends. And I'm like, oh, so these videos with dancing or transitions. And I'm like, okay, can I do that? I had so much fun doing them. I'm like, uh-oh, this is really fun. And at the time, I never did original content. If it was a trend, I did do the trend, but in my own spin. If it was fashion, I would just change, do my own thing. And it kind of progressed from there. And I was just on and off. I didn't care about the followers. I just did it for fun. It was only until I ended up back in Cali in LA, and then quarantine hit. So that was back in I think it was end of February, March. That's when I started getting serious. There was nothing else to do. So I'm going to let them vote on it. I'm going to let my followers at the time, which wasn't very many, I was like, I'm going to have them vote. And they did. They voted on an outfit that I should wear for all of my videos. So I wore that for a week and did all of my trending skits or whatever with that.
I don't fucking like you.
What?
I said, I don't fucking like you.
You don't like me?
No. Look. Bitch, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
And then I'm like, I kind of like this voting thing. I get to engage with the followers and it make more friends. So I'm going to continue this. So every week I did a vote. What do you want? Should we do hacks this week? It was on anything, Jazzy, like character, what I should wear, topic. I did everything. And it was a lot of fun for me. And that's how Cabin Crew hit. Guys, I had a lot of jobs. So I'm going to pick my 3 jobs, and it was cabin crew, banking, and what else did I do? I picked another one. I forget. And obviously everyone picked cabin crew.
Things you didn't know about Cabin Crew, Part 13, let's go! Have you ever wondered how our scheduling works? For Emirates, our roster comes out every month. Every crew member is put into a group from 1 to 7. And then every month, you climb the ladder. You're allowed to bid for flights to any destination around the world. If it's your turn to be in group number 1, there is a really high chance you will get that destination. And then if it's your turn to be in group number 7, you're on call for the whole month, which is the worst. Once our schedule comes out, which kind of looks like this, you still have the opportunity to swap flights with your other crew members. So if there's any place you want to go or maybe fly with a friend, you can.
And then the cabin crew content, after the first week, it seriously, it went crazy viral. And I was like, what is going on right now? Like, I don't get it, right? And people were like, no, keep it going, keep it going. They're like, we love it. So I extended for 1 more week. And then I did another one, 1 more week. So I did it for 3 weeks. In that 3 weeks, I gained like 1 million followers just from cabin crew. And in my brain, I'm like, I'm not cabin crew anymore. I'm like a fraud. Like I can't keep this up, guys, right? I went and did retail, which was everyone who was worked in retail was waiting for my retail content.
Yeah, I remember that.
It did pretty good. People who were interested in retail related to it, and it was funny. Mm-hmm. And then I featured my businesses, because I want people to understand what I actually do, because they're all confused. They're like, are you cabin crew? I'm like, no, I own these restaurants. So I want to show you guys what I do on these restaurants. And honestly, during the retail and Poke Time content time, comments were, bring back cabin crew, bring back cabin crew. I want more cabin crew, cabin crew, cabin crew. And I'm just like, okay, let's think about this. I had to launch Cabin Crew 2.0. And I was like, how am I gonna like make this work? So I decided that I was gonna do it again, but this time I was just gonna virtually travel the world and get stories from other current cabin crew members, act out their skits. In the country that I'm virtually traveling to, I get to collaborate with other content creators, which was really fun. And also learn about the country that we're virtually traveling to, because right now no one can travel, which is also really fun. And I just want people to learn about new cultures and food and things like that from people who are from there, you know, and actually using their stories and experiences and acting it out in skits. And I was like, this is good. I like this plan. That's where we are today. It's still changing a little bit. Because I have to always enjoy it. And I'm going to be honest, doing the collaborations is actually very difficult. It takes a lot of my energy because a lot of these creators are new. So I would need to guide them and teach them how to use certain green screen effects, and then
right.
So I'm actually teaching them one-on-one. You know, you gotta face this way. No, look up. No, screen record. And every segment I'm like doing this for like 5 to 10 people, and I'm just like, I feel really drained, and which is why I'm taking a little break right now. People are like, oh, how come you're not traveling to any country right now? I'm like, I need to chill out for a second. But I do love the fact that doing this with the creators, it's so fun for them, which in turn is so fun for me, right? They're like, this is amazing. I get to do a skit. I've never done it before. I'm like, oh, that's so amazing. I love it, right? So that's the experience I like, and I want to continue. And I definitely don't want to stop it. But yeah, so that's where I am now, where I am today, and we'll see where it goes, Jazz.
어? 저녁 시간이네. 야, 엄마 고기 없는 걸 시켜줘. 엄마, you know how to speak English. Can you order it yourself? 영어 잘 못하니까 그렇지. How do you order when I'm not around then? 기집애. 알았어, 엄마가 할게. Hello. Hello, what would you like for your meal? Please, I have rice and no chicken. I want 야, 야채가 뭐야, 야채. Do you just have anything that doesn't have any meat in it? Oh, are you a vegetarian? No, I am Korean.
Jeenie, this pandemic has been a novel experience for everyone worldwide. And during this time of confusion, TikTok was like a saving grace for many, both on the creator and audience side. And amongst many refreshing and entertaining creators that have sprung up during this time, your content definitely caught my attention, as you share your personal anecdotes from your past careers and your current careers in a quite entertaining short form video skits. But I really was captured by the fact that you incorporate your audience. And like you said, you were doing like weekly votes and trying to get feedback and looking through your comments and seeing, what they had to say. Like, it wasn't like you were just pushing content out, trying to connect, trying to have a conversation. And that really inspired me. And you're creating this community and this engagement with your audience. And I love that. Good job to you, seriously.
Thank you. I don't know if a lot of content creators do this, or maybe you can tell me, because you're a content creator as well. My favorite part is actually the comments. That's how I learn. That's how I adapt. And that's what I use to create further content. Comments are coming from your followers or people who are trying to engage with you and telling you what they love, what they don't love. Right? I'm not talking about straight up haters. I'm talking about like actual people that are like, oh, you shouldn't talk about that, or I think that's kind of, I find that I learn from that and I use it to create more content. I'm like, oh, everybody loved this. So I'm constantly testing, looking at comments, and then adapting according to what people want to see, or what they enjoy and what I enjoy, and I kind of merge it together.
I love that. I love how you pay attention to what the audience has to say too. With a larger following comes the inevitable negativity or hate comments, and it's really unfortunate to say inevitable, because negativity should never be normalized. Have you dealt with any negativity, and if so, how do you handle it?
So when I first started content creating back in, I'm going to say February, March, I was getting more hate comments, because the things that I was posting on sometimes were controversial. Like, it was based on coronavirus and racism and things like that. Not gonna lie, I had a hard time. I was like, everyone hates me, like, oh, and I don't know if it's like human nature, but there could be 1,000 amazing comments, and that one hate comment, you're like,
I know.
That it hurts me. I'm gonna cry about it. But it's like, once you kind of step back, it took me some time in training. I'm a lot better now. A lot better. I used to take it personally, and then I would like react to it, with the comment, be like, you did it, Oh, don't do that. Do not do that. And I would respond because I'll be like so offended or whatever it is. And to some people it might work because that's what their account's about. You know, they want to attack people who are haters and stuff, which is fine. But to me, I hate conflict. It gave me a lot of stress and it made my creative experience, I didn't like it. I'm like, okay, so how do I change this? I don't want to fight online anymore. I can't, because you're never going to win. You're never going to make everyone happy. You can be Mother Teresa on here, you'll still get hate comments. Like, it's just how social media is built. Some people troll on purpose. They think it's funny. They don't even look at your content. They're like, oh, you're ugly. It's a thank you very much. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, they don't have any context to it. So I've finally, all the troll comments that have nothing to do with my videos, or like, it's just straight up attacks, they don't bother me anymore, because I've trained myself to think, okay, you know what? They're just trolls and they're doing it to all the accounts. I already know. And it's not directed to me. I don't care. And it soup it away. The ones that are negative comments based on my content, those I do take personally, but I try to kind of see their point of view and just understand. Because some of them, they're like, listen, this is what you did here is actually, in my culture, is deemed very rude. And I had no idea. It could be anything. Like, for instance, I got a message from someone. I was burning white sage, and they're like, you should never burn white sage. I don't really remember the culture, but it was like, it's actually a very spiritual thing. So for you to do that, it's not right. I never knew that. And to me, that it was negative, but it wasn't hateful to me. It's just trying to get me to understand you have to be careful what you post. So I actually like those comments. I learned from it. It sounds weird to say right now, I'm getting less hate comments. I know that's hard to believe, because you're like, oh, as your account grows, you should be getting more. I get less directed hate on my account. Everybody is so supportive.
That's
And
so good.
it's quite like mind-boggling. As creators, you got to listen to what people are saying. And if you learn from it and adapt and try to create content that's more, less controversial, unless you want to be controversial. I just want everyone to enjoy my content. I just want people to be happy. I just want to brighten their day. That is my goal. Make sure to think before I post something, how will this affect all different types of people? And I've trained myself to do that. I'm still learning, because sometimes I'll post and then, I'll be like, uh-oh, actually, I didn't think of it that way. And for example, like the mask on the plane. Obviously it's highly controversial, because there's people who are pro-mask and there was one person that was so upset, was like, I suffer from PTSD. I cannot wear a mask. You are very insensitive, because I'm pro-mask. I am pro-mask. But I wasn't attacking you in that sense. I'm talking about people who are actually can wear a mask and refuse to wear it. I have to be more sensitive to everyone while still trying to deliver a message. It's hard. It's like a science.
It is. I think that makes content creators be able to hone empathy, because before you post, you're able to think about all the possible situations and maybe somebody that I might upset or offend or something, if you really care, if it's a content creator that actually cares, and think about, okay, is this safe? Like, will this be okay? So I think in that sense, it allows you to, like I said, be more empathetic and think about others and how they will feel and the different situations that are out there. But yeah, like you said, you don't know everything. So it is a learning curve.
You do your best. I've already, from how I created content from back then to now, like it's so different. I've learned so much. I do feel like I'm a better person because of it, which I love. And previously I was creating content for myself. That's the difference too. So that's why I was more controversial, because I was stating my opinions, because I was trying to express myself, which you can too. That's fine, right? But now it's more like I test it, I hear what you have to say, and I learn from it. I'm like, I never thought of that. And I'm learning from other people, which are all the followers and the viewers. They're the ones that are teaching me to become a better content creator and be a better person in general. That's the thing. Like, use the hateful stuff to learn from it.
When it hits you at first, it's like, oh, but then once you train yourself to adapt to that too, unfortunately, oh my God, no one wants to adapt to hate, but like, once you do, I think you can use it to better yourself.
But I use a lot of humor in the hate comments too. You agree with them, laugh about it, and don't let it affect you, and they will stop. It's very interesting. It's a good tactic. I like it.
I like it too.
Yeah, so if someone's like, oh, you're ugly, for instance, you're like, yeah, I look pretty bad today. I know, I just woke up. I didn't wash my face. Like, it's been a rough day for me. But, you laugh about it. You're like, you're right. I look like trash today. What are they going to say?
What are they going to say?
You look uglier. I don't know. Like, what are you going to say to that? Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
What I'm worried about, Jeenie, is like the younger generation. Like for us, like, we might be able to train ourselves to work with the hate. Yeah, okay, we'll learn from it. But like for these like young kids who are getting on this app or just on social media in general,
it's very toxic. I can see the toxic stuff for all these kids, and I don't really know how to help them. All that, if you're trying to create content and you can't handle the hate, you can deactivate the comments for TikTok. It might be actually better for your mental health to deactivate it. If you're strong enough, deactivating that, you lose your engagement, which you need in order to grow, good or bad. And the thing is that in life, there is hate. I hate it, but I mean, life is rough, and you're going to go through all these phases where people are going to hate on you. You will get bullied. I got bullied for sure, And so do you want to learn earlier? Do you want to learn later? You have to face it sometime. Even in the workplace, there's bullying in the workplace. There's hate in the workplace. You have discrimination, racism, everything. As an adult, you have it. So as a kid, if you're sheltered completely from it, how are you going to cope with it when you're an adult? That's my thing. And I understand that you shouldn't, as a child, you're like, oh my God, because, they're still growing and trying to learn, and just all this hate is really like, you'll go through depression and all these things will come up, and it's very scary. Especially, I remember when I was in high school, I was so concentrated on my looks and popularity, that was my boyfriend. Like these were number one. It wasn't job or money and all that stuff. I didn't care about that. I cared about how I looked, right? And how many people liked me and all that stuff. Imagine you have hate online bashing your looks. Like, what the heck is wrong with your eyes? What is wrong with your skin? Why are you so fat? Why are you skinny? Like, what's wrong with your hair? It is toxic. Like, I would have died, honestly. I'd be like, oh my God, now I gotta lose weight, or now I gotta, change my hair color. Ew, my eyes are brown. I want blue eyes. I should wear contact, and I get it. It's so hard. So that's why I think there's a lot of amazing accounts on TikTok that help you love yourself. So hopefully people who are having a hard time, they can follow these accounts and just be inspired to really just be yourself. Because in all honesty, what is perfection? It doesn't exist.
Right.
There is no perfection. Everybody's perfect the way they are, how you are. Haters are gonna hate, and it's so hard. I like bullying itself. Like, how do we stop that as a society? Even like, it breaks parents' hearts, teachers, they can't even handle that in their own school. So online, I know they're trying to do their best by filtering out all the hate crimes and things like that, which I think a lot of platforms are doing a good job, but still there's a lot of work to do. Still, you still see it. But I mean, it's all progress. Yeah.
I want to like put this out there and recognize it. Some people, like, I see celebrating this hate. Sometimes I see the comment section and they're like, I don't know, I don't want to say it. It's just really sad. And so I
They're
don't
celebrating
think
the hate.
yeah, they're like hoo-hawing the hate with each other.
Oh.
I don't know. It just makes me so sad.
For people that are like sharing the hate online and things like that, I've always like, what are you going through your personal life that makes you want to hate on random people like this? So I get really sad. I do get sad. I'm like, your actual life, what you're doing right now, something, you must be going through some trauma right now. There's no way, if you're happy, that you would be sharing hate online like this. So I'm like, oh, are you okay? Like, do you need a hug or need a talk or something? Because you're going through something. Like, yeah, I don't know. But anyways, there's a lot of things as content creators that we can do to promote like better, you know, things. And I don't know, it's a tough one, Jazzy.
It is.
I have a lot of like other content creators, and we have a chat group and stuff like that too, and they post themselves, and they need to get off social media for a bit as well. And I did too at one point, because it was toxic. It did get toxic, and you need to take some time off, which is good. Advice for future content creators: if you can't handle the hate now, out of when you have 1,000 followers and you can't handle one bad comment, rethink if you want to create content online. Just think about it, because if you can't handle that one comment, you're going to be in trouble. Mentally, you will be in trouble.
But isn't that so sad that we need to think about that? Like,
Yeah, it's very sad. Realistically speaking, if you can't handle that one hate comment and you're losing sleep over it because one person called you fat, a person you don't even know, who doesn't even have a profile picture, you got to rethink. Or are you going to take that and try to change the world? Can you be that person to try to change it? Be like, call me whatever you want. It's not going to bother me. I'm going to keep going. And if you can do that, keep going, because you're going to motivate a lot of other people to do the same.
now you certainly explored through industries to figure out what career worked for you and what didn't. Was this your approach on love as well?
Oh yeah. My mom is so funny. Like, she's traditional, but she told me, she's like, do not get married until you date a lot of boys.
Ooh.
Very different, right? Not a traditional Korean thing.
Yeah.
That's her advice to me.
And you took it.
Oh yeah. She's like, you need to date a lot of boys, figure out what you want, because your partner is gonna dictate the rest of your life. It will dictate if you're gonna end up happy or end up super stressed, hating your life. Like, your partner is your partner for life. So you have to pick perfectly. Do not rush into it. I'm not rushing you to get married. It's like, if you feel like you don't even have to get married, don't, because Yeah, because that partner will determine your happiness, and you have to choose a perfect one. So make sure you do. I guess that's the same as the job. Go through all these guys and you date, and you're like, oh, you go on this one date and you're like, oh, I don't like that personality. And then you go and you're like, oh my God, he's handsome, but he's boring. Oh no, like that's not gonna last. And it's true. And it's kind of bad to say like you have a checklist, but we do all kind of have a checklist in mind of what's important. As you date, it could change. Like, obviously, when I was in high school, I was like, oh, I want to date a bazillionaire, fly on a private plane. I don't want to work for the rest of my life. And he has to be handsome and blah, blah, blah. And, as you date, you realize, no, that's not important. Just because he has a lot of money or whatever is not going to make you happy. Because, hey, he might cheat on you all the time with his, is that what you want? Maybe to some people, it's fine.
Like, what is your secret to having a healthy relationship with your husband right now?
The thing that changed that I've learned the most is communication. I know everyone's like, oh, communication, like, yeah, okay. But before, I would always think that if I was bothered by something, that it wasn't a big deal. So I would keep it in. Like I said, I hate controversy, right? So I don't like fights. I don't like anything. I like to be mellow. So if something bothers me, I would always keep it in. Until that day, Jazzy, that I crack. The more you keep in, even though it's something really, really small, the more you keep it in, the more you're eventually going to burst. You do. And that's always happened to me. So this relationship I've learned, and it's been amazing. If something bothers me, it can't be something stupid though. I'm not talking about little things that you start a fight for no reason. I'm thinking like something like maybe your attitude towards me during this time or whatever it is. You need to express it. So I've been doing that. My fear usually was, oh, if I tell them my true feelings, he's gonna dump me. I always had that fear, like, oh, if I show him my true self, or if I tell him how I really feel, he's gonna like me less or love me less or whatever it is. And that was my fear, and I never did it. And it's not the case, guys. It is not the case. Say how you feel. If something bothers you, say it. Tell them and talk about it, because that's the only way that you will progress in your relationship. And most of the time, most of the time, guys are very simple. They're actually very, very simple. And most of the time, they don't even know what they're doing. Like, they didn't know that they made you feel that way unless you tell them.
Take notes, ladies.
Sometimes you're like, think that they're going to read your mind. Like, how did you not get this? Look in my eyes. Did you see that I'm angry? Like, like, how am I supposed to know you're angry? That's just them. Tell me you're angry. Tell me you don't like it. Tell me this is not right for you, And I feel like girls have trouble expressing and telling them. So just communicate it, hopefully without fighting. There's also a tone. I know if you say certain things, tone is very important. It can be condescending sometimes. It can lead to fights. But yeah, communication is what's really keeping our marriage like the best it can be. Yeah, some people like fire though in their relationship.
Really?
Yeah, people love fire. Like, they're like, I like it spicy. So, I like to have a little fight here and there. Some people are like that.
Oh, that's not my style.
No, that's not my style either. But, I do have friends that are like that.
Interesting. Whatever works for you, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
What 3 advice would you go back and give Sandra Jeenie Kwon in her 20s?
I feel like I could have been a better person in being more empathetic towards other people's situations, which I've learned recently through TikTok and creating. Like, I lived for myself, like in the world of Jeenie, right? Oh, I am the star of my own show. I'm ashamed about that growing up. Now thinking about it, I'm like, no, I could have been a bit nicer to this person or that person. Just understanding where they came from and how they were raised and what they're going through, because I feel like I was really selfish, you know, and just seeing one-sided, and I don't like that. So if I had advice, I would definitely go back and be like, listen, don't be like that. Don't be like that. That's so mean. That's so bad. But I didn't really have anyone to tell me otherwise also, because that's just like, I guess, how you grew up and your environment, what was important at that time. But it could have been nicer, not gonna lie. It's kind of sad.
It's not too late. Never too late.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I mean, that's another thing, like for people in the past, like just thinking about the past, I should have done this differently. Da, da, da. You can't change the past. It's done. What you did, mistakes you've made, it's done. But if you want to change it now, because I can change now, right? So I don't want to stress about it. The decisions I made or choices I made back in the past, feel like, well, okay, how can I be better in the future? How can I be better now? Who do I want to become? I feel like I can be more true to myself in my feelings, express, like I've always trying to be, do you call it people pleaser? It's okay to feel certain emotions and show it, but I would always be happy Jeenie, you know, like, and don't be afraid to feel all these other emotions and show it. Like people won't judge you for it. So that's another thing that I would tell myself, because I would always be, you know, I am a lot better now for sure. Obviously, you can't really see it online because, you know, it's always the same kind of happy content. But in real life, I've learned to be more expressive in how I actually feel. So that's that. And another one is make the right friends. There were a couple times, I mean, if you're in the wrong group, it does affect who you are and who you become. And not that they weren't great people, because they are, but sometimes it's not the right match for you.
Right.
If I maybe stuck to certain groups or certain types of people, it would have played a better influence in my life. There's a lot of bad choices I made in life because I hung out with the bad crowd. So, but I did it because I thought it was a popularity thing and all that. You know, I would tell myself it's okay to hang out with people that, you know, actually fit you better. Don't feel peer pressured to do otherwise.
Jeenie, what does success mean to you?
Success is truly finding yourself, owning up to it, living it, and being happy. That is my description of success. Whatever that is in between, that's to each their own. It doesn't have to be a job. A job doesn't make you successful. To be successful in life is to find your own path and understanding it and loving it. That is my idea of success. And that could be a family too, right? You don't have to work. Maybe success is you having a beautiful family and just loving each other and growing up and having the time of your life, and you feel like you've succeeded in life. The thing that I always say, even to my husband, I'm like, listen, if I die tomorrow, I will be happy. And that's how I've always lived my life. And that's my idea of success. So do I find my success? Do I feel like I am successful right now? I really do. I actually really do. I don't have a lot of money, Jazz. I'm in a lot of debt, but you know, do I still feel successful? Hell yeah, I do. I really do. And I know who I am, the person that I want to become. And literally, if I die tomorrow, I'm okay. I even told my mom, like, don't be sad, mom, because literally anything can happen. Life is unpredictable. But if I die tomorrow, I just want to let you know, thank you for raising me the way you did, right? You know for sure I lived my life, and she knows. I was like, I did everything that I wanted to do. Everything. And I'm still doing it now. Whatever I want to do, I'm still doing it now. So if I die tomorrow, perish, I lived an happy life, an extremely happy life. So that's why I feel like I'm successful. But
Aw, that makes me so happy.
to each their own. To each their own. Yeah.
I love it. Jeenie, from our conversation today, I can definitely tell that you took ownership of your life on all aspects: career, love, relationships, and with your mind, body, and soul. You didn't let society's standards take over and define you, but you've consistently, and you still are, shining your own authentic bright light as Sandra Jeenie Kwon. And that is very admirable and hard to find these days. So it makes me so happy that we have a content creator like you on the rise, building such a positive platform that will influence and inspire so many. So kudos to you, Jeenie.
Oh, thank you. But you're doing it too. You're doing it too.
I'm trying.
I love being on here. This was fun. And I love this because if there's listeners out there that it helps them make certain decisions or help them feel better, like, this is real life. You know, this is not like a movie. Nobody lives in a movie and everything is perfect. We just try to all live our best life, right? So what you're doing, your channel, everything, it's so inspirational. Hopefully one day I get to do a YouTube channel if I ever get to it, and try to do what you do and try to make a difference by sharing stories, because that's really what it is, real life stories. And good for you, Jazzy. Seriously.
Oh,
Yeah.
Thank you. That
Keep
means a
going.
lot.
Keep going. Yeah.
Thank you.
Aw.
I'm gonna cry.
Oh, don't cry.
Thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you, Jeenie.
This is so fun.
Bye. Have a good night.
Bye.
Who's My Way will we explore next? Please like, subscribe, and share, and let's go find out together.